name is Emily, and I'm a 32-year-old search and rescue volunteer based in California. I've been doing SR work in Yosemite National Park for 8 years. I've seen accidents, injuries, deaths from falls and exposure. But nothing prepared me for what happened to my best friend Rachel in October 2024. Rachel and I had been hiking together since college. She was experienced, careful, always prepared. On October 12, 2024, we planned a day hike to Half Dome, a challenging but popular trail we'd done twice before. Weather was perfect. We started at 6 a.m., made good time, reached the cables around noon. That's when Rachel said she needed to use the bathroom. There are no facilities at the summit, so hikers usually go off trail a bit for privacy. Rachel headed toward a cluster of trees about 50 yards from the main trail. "Don't go far," I called after her. "Stay where I can see you. I'll be 2 minutes," she yelled back, waving. I waited. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. I started getting worried and called her name. No response. I walked toward where she'd gone, calling louder. Nothing. I searched the immediate area for 30 minutes before calling park rangers. They arrived within an hour with a search team. By evening, we had 50 people looking. Rangers, volunteers, other hikers. Dogs were brought in. They picked up Rachel's scent leading into the trees. Then, nothing. The dog circled, whined, refused to continue tracking. One dog actually backed away, growling at empty forest. The search continued for 3 days. We covered every inch of terrain within a 5-mile radius. Rachel had vanished completely. No clothing, no backpack, no trace. It was like she'd been erased from existence. On the 4th day, October 16th, another hiker found her. She was sitting on a boulder near Vernal Falls, 7 miles from where she'd disappeared, in the opposite direction from Half Dome. Just sitting there, staring at the water, wearing the same clothes she'd disappeared in. No injuries, no signs of exposure. She looked fine. When rangers approached her, she turned and smiled. "Oh, hi. Is it time to go?" They brought her down immediately. Paramedics checked her over. Perfect health. No dehydration, no malnutrition, no signs she'd spent 4 days in the wilderness. Her clothes weren't even dirty. I met her at the ranger station. "Rachel? Oh my God, where were you? What happened?" She looked at me, confused. "What do you mean?" "I just went to the bathroom. Did you wait long?" "Sorry, I got distracted by some pretty flowers." "Rachel, you've been missing for 4 days," she laughed. "What? No. I was gone like 5 minutes max. Stop joking around." The rangers questioned her for hours. She insisted she'd only been gone a few minutes. She had no memory of 4 days passing, no idea how she got to Vernal Falls, no recollection of anything unusual. She remembered walking into the trees, finding a spot behind a large boulder, and then coming back out. Everything in between was just gone. Doctors found nothing wrong. No head injury, no drugs in her system, no medical explanation for the memory loss. They called it dissociative fugue, a rare psychological condition. Released her after 2 days of observation, but I knew Rachel. I'd known her for 10 years, and the Rachel who came back wasn't quite the same. Small things at first. She'd always been a coffee person. Now she only wanted tea. She'd been vegetarian for 5 years. Suddenly she craved meat constantly, especially rare steak. She used to hate the cold. Now she kept her apartment at 60 degrees and said anything warmer felt suffocating. "People change," she said when I mentioned it. Maybe the experience affected me. But there were stranger things. She developed an obsession with returning to Yosemite. Every weekend, she wanted to hike, always the same area, near where she'd disappeared. She'd stand in those trees for hours just waiting. When I asked what she was waiting for, she'd say, "I don't know. I just feel like I need to be here." like I'm supposed to remember something. 3 weeks after her return, I was at her apartment when I noticed something disturbing. She was in the shower, and I saw her dirty hiking clothes in the hamper. The shirt she'd been wearing when she disappeared, the one that looked clean when she was found, was covered in dirt, grass stains, and something dark that looked like dried blood. I confronted her about it. "Rachel, your shirt. There's blood on it." She looked at it confused. "That's weird. Must have cut myself hiking and not noticed." "You said you weren't injured. The paramedics found nothing." "I don't know, Em. Maybe I blocked it out? Maybe that's why I can't remember." A month after her disappearance, Rachel called me at 3 a.m. crying. "Emily, I remembered something. Just a flash, but I think I went somewhere. During those 4 days, somewhere underground, there were, I don't know how to describe them. People, but not people. They were tall, wrong proportions, and they were doing something to me, some kind of examination, but every time I try to remember more, it slips away. Rachel, maybe you should talk to a therapist about..." No therapists. They'll think I'm crazy. Maybe I am crazy, but Em, I can feel it. Something happened to me in those woods, something they don't want me to remember. 2 months after her return, December 2024, Rachel disappeared again. She'd gone back to Yosemite alone, despite my protests. She texted me at 2 p.m. "I found it. The entrance. I remember now. I have to go back. They're calling me." That was her last message. Park rangers searched for 2 weeks. They found her car in the Half Dome parking lot. They found her backpack near the trees where she'd first disappeared, contents scattered like she'd left in a hurry. But Rachel, gone. This time, the dogs wouldn't even enter the area. They barked, pulled away, refused to track. One dog actually bit its handler when forced toward the trees. She's been missing for 3 months now. The official search ended after 2 weeks. Her family held a memorial service. Everyone thinks she got lost and died from exposure, that they just haven't found the body yet. But I know better. Because last week, I got a call from an unknown number. I answered, and I heard Rachel's voice. "Emily? I'm okay. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I should have come back the first time. They let me go by mistake, but I'm home now. Don't look for me. Don't come here. Just remember me how I was before. Rachel, where are you? Come back. I can't. I'm not the same anymore. I haven't been since that first day. What came back to you in October, that was mostly me, but not all me. They changed something, fixed something, they said, made me better, but the changes weren't finished. Now they are. I'm complete now. Rachel, you're not making sense. What are you... There are places in the parks, Em. Thin places where their world touches ours. They've been here longer than us, watching. Sometimes they take people. Sometimes they give them back. Sometimes they improve them. I'm improved now. I understand things I never could before. I can see things. The park isn't what you think it is. None of it is. Rachel, please. Stop looking. Stop searching. I'm not missing. I'm exactly where I need to be. And Emily, don't go into the woods alone, especially not near Half Dome. They're watching. They're always watching, and they're curious about you now. They know we're connected. They might want to improve you too. The call ended. I've reported everything to the Rangers, the FBI, everyone. They think I'm grieving, hearing things I want to hear. But I know what I heard. That was Rachel. Changed, but Rachel. I still volunteer with search and rescue, but now, when we search those woods near Half Dome, I see things that make me pause. Shapes moving between trees that disappear when you look directly at them. Areas where compasses spin uselessly. Spots where the temperature drops 40 degrees for no reason. Places where the dogs refuse to go, and sometimes, late at night when I'm alone, I get text messages from Rachel's disconnected number. No words, just coordinates. Different locations in Yosemite. I've looked them up. They're all spots with high numbers of disappearances over the years. Missing 401 locations. Thin places. Last week, I received coordinates with a message. This is where they'll take you next. Run. The coordinates were for the parking lot outside my apartment building. I don't know what to do. I don't know if Rachel's trying to warn me or lure me. I don't know if she's a victim or if she's become one of them. But I know this. There are things in our national parks that aren't supposed to be there. Ancient things. Things that take people and sometimes give them back different. Things that live in the spaces between trees, in the caves that aren't on any maps, in the parts of the forest where the light doesn't reach properly. And once they've noticed you, once they've marked you as interesting, there's nowhere you can run where they won't find you. Rachel tried to run back to them. Maybe that's the only escape, surrendering to whatever they want to do to you. Or maybe that's exactly what they want me to think. I'm writing this as a warning. If someone you know disappears in a national park and comes back with no memory, watch them carefully. Look for the changes. Because what comes back might not be entirely human anymore. And if you ever get the feeling you're being watched in the deep woods, if compasses start spinning and dogs start whining, if you find yourself in a place that feels wrong, even though you can't explain why, run. Don't try to understand. Don't try to investigate. Just run and don't look back. Because some mysteries in the national parks aren't meant to be solved. They're meant to consume you.
My name is Marcus Chen, and I used to be a park ranger at Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee. Used to be, because after what happened during my last night shift in November 2024, I quit. Turned in my badge, moved to Chicago, got a job at a desk where the most dangerous thing I encounter is a paper cut. I'd been a ranger for 6 years. Loved the work, loved the park. The night shifts were usually peaceful. Patrol the roads, check the campgrounds, make sure no one was where they shouldn't be. Quiet, meditative almost. November 7th, 2024, started like any other night shift. I clocked in at 11 p.m., got my assignment, patrol Cades Cove Loop Road and the surrounding trails. The park closes at sunset, but we patrol all night to prevent illegal camping and partying. Around 1:30 a.m., I was driving the loop when my radio crackled. Ranger 7, we got a 911 call. Campers at campsite 23 reporting screaming in the woods. Can you check it out? Campsite 23 was about 2 miles from my location. I radioed back confirmation and headed over. When I arrived, I found a family of 4, parents, 2 teenage kids, standing by their RV looking terrified. The father, a man in his 50s named Bill, rushed over as soon as he saw my vehicle. Thank God you're here. There's someone out there screaming. It's been going on for 20 minutes. It sounds like someone's being murdered. I listened. At first, I heard nothing but normal forest sounds. Wind, crickets, the distant sound of the stream. Then I heard it, a scream. High-pitched, agonized. Human, but wrong somehow. It lasted about 10 seconds, then cut off abruptly. How long has this been happening? I asked. Started around 1 a.m., Bill's wife said. Every few minutes, the same scream, same length, same tone. It's not natural. Something's wrong. I'd heard mountain lions before. They can sound eerily human. Could be a mountain lion, They make sounds that can seem like screaming. No, the teenage son said. This isn't an animal. This is a person, or something pretending to be a person. Another scream erupted from the darkness, closer this time. The family flinched. I won't lie, so did I. Because the kid was right. It sounded human, but there was something off about it. The pitch was too consistent, the duration too precise. It was like someone had recorded a scream and was playing it back at intervals. Stay in your RV, I told them. Lock the doors. I'm going to investigate. Are you serious? Bill asked. You can't go out there alone. It's my job. Stay here. I grabbed my flashlight and headed into the woods in the direction of the screams. My radio, my flashlight, my service weapon, standard equipment, suddenly feeling inadequate. The forest at night in the Smokies is dark. Dense canopy blocks most moonlight. My flashlight beam cut through the blackness, illuminating trees, undergrowth, nothing unusual. Then another scream, maybe 100 yards ahead. I moved toward it, following. Protocol, calling out, identifying myself as a park ranger. No response except another scream, same as before. Exactly the same. I walked for 15 minutes, the screaming continuing at regular intervals, always seeming to be just ahead of me. Then I noticed something odd. I should have reached the park boundary by now. I'd walked far enough that I should be at the fence line, but I was still deep in forest. I checked my compass. It was spinning slowly, unable to find north. That's when I realized I couldn't hear the stream anymore, or the crickets, or anything except the screaming and my own footsteps. The forest had gone completely silent. Another scream, but this time it came from behind me. I spun around, flashlight sweeping the darkness. Nothing, just trees and shadows. Then from my left, then my right, then above me. The screaming was coming from everywhere at once, surrounding me. And I realized with growing horror that it wasn't screaming anymore. It was laughter, the same sound, but now that it was all around me, I could hear it clearly. Whatever was making that sound was laughing. I ran. Didn't matter which direction, just away. My flashlight bobbed wildly, showing me glimpses of forest that seemed to shift and change. Trees too close together, paths that looped back on themselves, shadows that moved independently of my light. I burst into a clearing and stopped. In the center of the clearing stood a figure. It looked like a park ranger. Same uniform as mine, same build, even the same flashlight. It was standing perfectly still, facing away from me. "Hey," I shouted. "Are you okay?" The figure didn't move. I approached slowly, hand on my weapon. "Sir? Ma'am? Are you hurt?" When I was about 10 feet away, the figure's head rotated 180 degrees to face me. The body didn't move, just the head, twisting with a grinding sound like stone on stone. The face was mine. I was looking at myself. Same face, same expression, same everything, except the eyes were completely black. No whites, no iris, just solid black voids. It smiled with my face and opened its mouth. The screaming sound came out, but its mouth didn't move properly. The jaw hung too loose, opening too wide, the sound emanating from somewhere deeper than a throat should go. I fired my weapon. 3 shots, center mass, ranger training taking over. The figure didn't react. The bullets hit. I saw the impacts, but nothing happened. No blood, no falling, nothing. It took a step toward me, movement jerky and wrong, like a puppet with tangled strings. Then another step. I ran again, crashed through undergrowth, branches tearing at my face and uniform. Behind me, I heard my own footsteps, running at the same pace, matching me exactly. I don't know how long I ran. Time felt broken. Could have been minutes or hours. But eventually, I saw lights ahead, the campsite. I burst out of the tree line and practically fell into the clearing where the family's RV was parked. Bill rushed over. Jesus Christ, what happened? You've been gone for 3 hours. 3 hours. It had felt like 30 minutes. Get in your RV. Pack up. Leave. Now. I was gasping, barely coherent. What did you see out there? Just go. Get your family and leave the park. Right now. They didn't argue. Within 15 minutes, they were packed and driving away. I escorted them to the park exit, then sat in my vehicle, shaking, trying to make sense of what happened. My radio crackled. Ranger 7, what's your status? You missed your check-in. I grabbed the radio. This is Ranger 7. I need backup at Cades Cove. I encountered something. Ranger 7, we already have your check-in. You radioed 10 minutes ago saying everything was clear. No, I didn't. I haven't radioed since I went into the woods. Ranger 7, are you feeling okay? We have your voice on recording. You called in at 3:15 a.m., said the campsite incident was a mountain lion. Situation resolved. I hadn't made that call. I'd been running through the forest at 3:15 a.m., being chased by something wearing my face. Dispatch, I need you to listen carefully. Something is wrong. Something in the woods can mimic us. It looked like me, sounded like me, and apparently it can use our radios. We need to... Static. The radio went dead. I tried my cell phone. No signal, even though I'd had full bars 20 minutes ago. That's when I saw it in my rearview mirror, standing at the tree line behind my vehicle. The ranger that looked like me, just standing there, watching. I drove. Didn't go back to the ranger station, didn't collect my things, just drove straight out of the park and didn't stop until I was 3 states away. The next day, I called the park superintendent to resign. He was confused. Marcus, you're scheduled for 3 more shifts this week. What's this about? I quit. I can't work there anymore. Not after last night. Last night? You had the night off. You weren't scheduled. No, I worked last night. November 7th, I was at Cades Cove. I investigated screaming in the woods. Marcus, November 7th. You called in sick. Food poisoning, remember? Ranger Davis covered your shift. He reported a quiet night, nothing unusual. I checked my own calendar, my own texts. He was right. According to every record, I hadn't worked November 7th. I'd called in sick, stayed home. But I had the memories. The family, the screaming, the thing in the woods with my face. I had scratches on my arms from branches. My uniform was torn. Unless I'd never left the woods. Unless what came back, what drove out of the park, what's been living in my apartment for the past month. I looked in the mirror while on the phone. My reflection looked back, smiled. The superintendent was still talking, but I wasn't listening anymore. I was watching my reflection, watching the way it moved just slightly out of sync with my actual movements, watching the way its eyes were just a little too dark. I hung up, packed a bag, left my apartment. I've been moving ever since. New city every few weeks. Never staying long. Because sometimes I catch my reflection doing things I'm not doing. Smiling when I'm not smiling. Watching when I'm not watching. And sometimes late at night I hear screaming that sounds exactly like my own voice. Coming from inside whatever room I'm staying in. Coming from me, even though my mouth is closed. I think something followed me out of the Smokies that night. Or maybe something came back instead of me, and the real me is still in those woods, trapped in that endless dark forest, running in circles while something else wears my face in the outside world. I don't know which possibility is worse. But I know this. If you're ever in the Smokies at night, and you hear screaming in the woods, don't investigate. Don't go looking. Because whatever's out there, it can become you. It can take your face, your voice, your entire existence. And maybe it already has. How would you even know? My name is Tyler Morrison. I'm 26. And in September 2024, my girlfriend Jenna and I went camping at Olympic National Park in Washington. We're experienced campers, done trips all over the Pacific Northwest. Olympic was supposed to be a relaxing weekend, just us, the forest, Lake Crescent, maybe some hiking. We set up our tent at one of the backcountry campsites near the lake on Friday evening. The area was beautiful, dense old-growth forest, the lake crystal clear, mountains in the distance. We had the campsite to ourselves, perfect isolation. Friday night was uneventful. We made dinner, sat by the fire, went to sleep around 11 p.m. The forest was full of normal sounds, owls, rustling leaves, the occasional crack of a branch. Saturday, we hiked around the lake, explored some trails, saw a few other hikers, but nothing unusual. By evening, we were back at our campsite, tired and happy. We made dinner as the sun set around 7 p.m. That's when Jenna pointed toward the tree line, about 50 yards from our tent. Tyler, what is that? I looked. At first, I didn't see anything. Then I noticed movement. Something was standing at the edge of the forest, partially hidden behind a tree. It looked like a deer, large, maybe 6 feet tall at the shoulder, with antlers. Just a deer, I said. Cool, must be a big buck. We watched it for a minute. It didn't move, just stood there, partially concealed, watching us back. Its legs look weird, Jenna said. I looked closer. She was right. The proportions were off. The legs seemed too long, joints bending at odd angles. And the way it stood, too still, too rigid. Deer are usually alert, moving their heads, ears twitching. This one was absolutely motionless. Maybe it's injured, I suggested. The creature stepped out from behind the tree. That's when we saw it clearly. It looked like a deer, but wrong. The body was emaciated, ribs visible under matted fur. The legs did bend wrong, joints reversed like something. Wearing a deer costume, but not quite getting the anatomy right. The antlers were massive, but asymmetrical, covered in what looked like moss or decay. But the worst part was the face. Where a deer's face should be gentle, soft features, this thing had a face that was too flat, too forward-facing. The eyes were positioned like a predator's, both facing forward, gleaming with an intelligence that deer don't have. It was staring directly at us. That's not a deer, Jenna whispered. Not deer, I said, remembering stories I'd read online. Creatures that look almost like deer but are subtly wrong. Predators that mimic prey animals. I've read about these. We need to get in the tent. Don't run, don't turn your back on it. We backed slowly toward our tent, keeping our eyes on the creature. It watched us, head tilting at an angle too severe for a normal spine. When we were halfway to the tent, it smiled. I don't know how else to describe it. Its mouth opened, revealing teeth that were too numerous, too sharp, arranged in rows like a shark, and it smiled at us. Then it made a sound, not a deer sound. It sounded like a human screaming, but played backwards, mixed with the crunching sound of breaking bones. The sound made my teeth ache, made my stomach turn. We scrambled into the tent and zipped it shut, hands shaking. Through the mesh, we could see the creature still standing there, watching. After 10 minutes, it turned and walked back into the forest. Movement jerky and unnatural, like stop-motion animation. We need to leave, Jenna said. Right now, pack up and go. It's dark. The trail back to the parking lot is 3 miles through dense forest. If that thing is out there. I didn't finish the sentence. We decided to wait until morning. We kept our flashlights and bear spray ready. Didn't sleep, just sat in the tent listening to the forest sounds, jumping at every noise. Around 2 a.m. we heard footsteps circling our tent. Not deer hooves. These sounded like human footsteps. Slow, deliberate, crunching on the fallen leaves. Whatever was out there was walking in a circle around our tent, maybe 20 feet away. We stayed silent, barely breathing. The footsteps continued for an hour, same pace, same circle, over and over. Then they stopped. In the silence, we heard breathing, right outside the tent. Heavy, wet breathing, like something with lungs too large for its chest. Then a voice, Jenna's voice. Tyler, can you help me? I'm lost. I can't find the tent. Tyler, where are you? I felt Jenna grab my arm in the dark. She was right next to me. The voice outside continued calling my name, using Jenna's voice perfectly. Don't answer, Jenna whispered. That's not me. Tyler, please. I'm scared. It's so dark. I need you. Please come out and help me find my way back. The desperation in the voice was perfect. If I hadn't been holding Jenna's hand, feeling her trembling next to me, I might have believed it. The voice continued for 30 minutes, begging, crying, using every emotional manipulation to get me to come outside. Then it changed tactics. Now it was my voice. Jenna? Jenna, I'm hurt. Something attacked me. I need help. Please come out. I'm bleeding. Jenna, please. Jenna squeezed my hand tighter. We said nothing. The voice outside cycled through different people. My mom's voice. Jenna's dad. A child crying for help. A park ranger announcing a mandatory evacuation. Each voice was perfect, extracted from some depth of our memories. Then the tent started shaking. Something was grabbing the fabric, pulling at the stakes, trying to collapse it or open it. We held onto the center pole, keeping the tent upright, while whatever was outside yanked and pulled. This continued until dawn. The moment the first light appeared, everything stopped. The shaking ceased. The voices went silent. We heard those backward footsteps moving away, back into the forest. We waited until full daylight, then packed up in record time and practically ran the 3 miles back to our car. Didn't look back, didn't stop moving until we were in the vehicle with doors locked. As we drove out of the park, Jenna was crying. What the fuck was that? What was that thing? I didn't have an answer. Still don't. We reported the incident to park rangers. They were polite but skeptical. Probably thought we got spooked by a regular deer and let our imaginations run wild. They said they'd make a note of it and increase patrols in that area. 2 weeks later, I got an email from a ranger named Sarah. She said she'd read our report and wanted to talk to us off the record. We met her at a coffee shop in Seattle. I believe you, she said. I've worked in Olympic for 12 years. I've seen things that don't make sense, things that look almost right but aren't. We're not supposed to talk about it. Bad for tourism. But there are areas of the park where experienced rangers won't go alone. Areas where compasses don't work right and people disappear. Lake Crescent is one of them. What are those things? Jenna asked. We don't know. Old-timers, rangers who've been here 30, 40 years. They have theories. Some think they're animals we haven't classified yet, evolutionary offshoots. Others think they're something older, things that were here before humans, that learned to mimic us the same way some insects mimic leaves or sticks. Protective camouflage. But instead of looking like the environment, they look like the things we trust. Deer, rangers, each other. How many people have seen them? More than you'd think, but most people don't report it. They convince themselves they saw something ordinary, that their fear made them imagine the wrong details. And the ones who do report it, well, like you found out, we don't take official action. What would we do? Close the park because of unidentified creatures? People would think we're insane. She slid a paper across the table. This is a map. Areas marked in red are places where we've had the highest concentration of unusual reports, disappearances, strange encounters. If you ever come back to Olympic, and I recommend you don't, avoid these areas completely. Lake Crescent was marked in red, so were about 15 other locations throughout the park. One more thing, Sarah said as we got up to leave. If you ever see one of those not deer again, or anything that looks almost right but not quite, don't try to interact with it. Don't speak to it. Don't run from it. Just leave the area calmly and don't come back. They're curious about us, but we don't know what their intentions are. And we definitely don't know what they're capable of. Jenna and I haven't been camping since. Can't bring myself to do it. Because now when I'm in the woods, I'm looking at every deer, every animal, every shadow, wondering if it's real or if it's one of them. And the worst part? Last month we were at a friend's wedding. I was looking at the group, photos afterward, and I noticed something in the background of one photo. At the edge of the forest behind the outdoor venue, partially hidden behind a tree, stood a deer. A deer with its legs bent wrong, with its eyes too forward-facing, with its head tilted at an impossible angle, watching us, smiling. They're not just in Olympic National Park, they're everywhere, in every forest, every wilderness area, every place where the trees grow thick and the light doesn't quite reach. They're watching, learning, mimicking, and one day they might get it right. They might look so much like us that we can't tell the difference anymore. Maybe they already have. How would we know? My name is Connor Walsh, I'm 31, and I'm a wilderness survival instructor from Montana. I've spent hundreds of nights alone in the backcountry. I teach people how to handle themselves in extreme situations. I'm trained, experienced, confident in the wilderness. None of that mattered when I got lost in Glacier National Park in August 2024. I went in for a solo 5-day backpacking trip, a route I'd done twice before. Highline Trail to Granite Park, then off-trail to some remote areas I'd been wanting to explore. I filed my itinerary with rangers, had all the right equipment, knew what I was doing. Day 1 and 2 were perfect. Weather was clear, saw some wildlife, made good progress. On day 3, August 14th, I decided to explore a valley that wasn't on any official trail. I'd seen it from a ridge the previous year and wanted to check it out. I left my main pack at my campsite and took a day pack with water, snacks, and emergency supplies. Planned to be gone 4 hours max, back by 3 p.m. The valley was beautiful. Alpine meadows, a small creek surrounded by dramatic peaks. I took photos, enjoyed the solitude. Around 1 p.m., I started heading back. That's when I realized I couldn't find my way out. The valley had seemed straightforward. One way in, same way out. But now I was looking at 3 different gaps in the ridgeline that all looked identical. I checked my compass. It was spinning slowly, unable to settle on north. GPS on my phone showed my location as an unmarked area, but the map wouldn't load properly. I had downloaded offline maps, but they were corrupted, just showing gray squares instead of terrain. Okay, I thought. No panic. I'm a survival instructor. I can handle this. I picked the gap that looked most familiar and started climbing. Reached the top after an hour of hiking. On the other side, another valley, not the one I'd come from. This one was narrower, darker, with dead trees scattered everywhere. I tried another gap, another unfamiliar valley. Tried the third, same result. By 5 p.m., I was thoroughly lost. I'd spent 4 hours hiking and somehow ended up in places that shouldn't exist according to the park maps I'd studied. The terrain didn't match my memory or my training. I made the decision to set up camp for the night in the original valley and try again in the morning with better light. I had emergency supplies, could easily spend a night out. In the morning, I'd get up high, use the sun for orientation, find my way back. Night came. I made a small fire, ate some trail mix, tried to stay calm. The valley was silent, too silent. No insects, no night birds, no wind. Just nothing. Around 11 p.m. I heard footsteps. Heavy footsteps, something large moving through the valley. I grabbed my flashlight and bear spray. If it was a grizzly, I needed to be ready. The footsteps stopped about 50 feet from my fire. I shined my flashlight toward the sound. Nothing, just darkness and trees. Then I heard my own voice. Connor, I'm lost. Can you help me? My voice, exactly my voice, coming from the darkness beyond my firelight. I'm so confused, my voice continued. I can't find my way. Connor, are you there? Can you hear me? I said nothing, stood frozen, holding my light and bear spray. Please, Connor, I'm scared. It's so dark. Help me. The voice was coming from multiple directions now. Like several copies of me were standing in a circle around my camp, all speaking at once, slightly out of sync. This continued for an hour. My own voice begging for help, crying, pleading. Then it changed tactics. Now it was my wife's voice. I'm not married, never have been. But somehow, this voice knew what my wife would sound like if I had one. It was intimate, loving, perfect. Connor, honey, where are you? I've been looking everywhere. Come to bed, it's late. I spent the entire night by the fire, listening to voices I recognized and voices I didn't, all calling to me from the darkness. I didn't sleep, couldn't sleep, just fed the fire and waited for dawn. When morning came, the voices stopped. I packed up and tried again to find my way out. Picked a direction, started hiking. By noon, I realized I was back in the same valley. I'd hiked for 4 hours in what should have been a straight line, and I'd somehow looped back to my starting point. This is impossible, I thought. This doesn't happen. Valleys don't loop. Terrain doesn't rearrange itself. But I was back where I'd started. I recognized my fire pit from the night before. Day 2 lost. I was running low on food. Had plenty of water from the creek, but only enough food for maybe 2 more days if I rationed carefully. I tried a different approach. Climbed to the highest point I could find, looked for landmarks. From the ridge I could see familiar peaks in the distance. Mountains I recognized from park maps. I could orient myself. The parking lot where I'd left my car should be northeast, maybe 15 miles. I started, hiking northeast, checked my compass obsessively, kept the sun on my left to maintain direction, hiked for 6 hours. At 5 p.m., I emerged into a valley. The same valley. My fire pit was still there. I'd walked in a straight line for 6 hours and ended up back where I started. That's when I started to panic. Really panic. Because this wasn't getting lost. This was something else. Something impossible. That night, the voices came back. But this time, they weren't trying to lure me. They were mocking me. Connor thinks he can leave, my voice said from the darkness. Connor thinks he understands how this works. But Connor is wrong. "The valley keeps what it wants," said a woman's voice I didn't recognize. "And it wants you, Connor. You're interesting. You're strong. You'll last a while. We love the ones who last." "How long has it been, Connor?" asked a man's voice. 2 days? 3? How long do you think you can keep this up? How much food do you have left? I screamed into the darkness. "What do you want from me?" Laughter. Multiple voices laughing, surrounding me. Then silence. Day 3. I was out of food. I could survive on water, but I was getting weak. The psychological stress was worse than the physical hunger. I was trapped in a geographic impossibility, being taunted by voices that knew my name. I tried everything I could think of. Different directions. Climbing over ridges I'd already tried. Following the creek downstream. It should lead somewhere. Creeks always lead somewhere. Nothing worked. Every path led back to the valley. That afternoon, I found something that made my blood run cold. On a rock near the creek, carved into the stone, names and dates. Jennifer Hayes, 8/14/2019. Day 7, Marcus Williams, 6/3/2021. Day 12, Sarah Rodriguez, 9/22/2022. Day 4. There were dozens of names, dates going back years, days counting up, 3, 7, 12, 19, 31. One carved name showed day 78. Below the names, a message. "The valley keeps us. We are here. We are always here." I was in a place that trapped people. A place that had held someone for 78 days. And judging by the dates, these weren't all recent. Some were from years ago. Were those people still here? Had they died here? Or were they the voices I heard at night? Day 3 night. I was weak, delirious, terrified. The voices came again, but I barely paid attention. I was too busy trying to carve my own name on the rock, adding to the list. Some desperate attempt at leaving evidence, at being remembered. Connor Walsh, 8/14/2024. Day 3. As I carved, one of the voices spoke. "Day 3 already, Connor? Time moves differently here. For you, it's been 3 days. But out there in the real world, it's been 3 weeks. Your wife is worried. Your children miss you." "I don't have a wife," I said. "I don't have children." "Are you sure? Are you sure you remember correctly? You've been here a long time, Connor. Longer than you think. The valley takes memories along with days. How long? Have you really been here?" I looked at my carved name. The stone around it looked old, weathered. The carving looked like it had been there for months, not minutes. "No," I whispered. "No, I just carved that. Just now." "Did you? Or has it been weeks since you carved it? Months? Years?" The valley keeps what it wants, Connor. And it wants you to forget, to lose track, until you're not sure if you've been here 3 days or 3 decades. I don't remember much of what happened next. I think I broke down. I think I screamed until my voice gave out. I think I ran into the darkness, away from the voices, away from that rock with all those names. When I came to my senses, it was dawn. Day 4. Or was it? I couldn't remember. Couldn't remember how many nights I'd spent by that fire. Couldn't remember what day I'd entered the valley. I looked at my hands. They seemed older, more weathered. How long had I been here? I found myself back at the rock. My name was there, Connor Walsh, 8/14/2024, day 72 days. But I only remembered 3. What happened to the other 69 days? Where did that time go? I sat down next to the rock and waited to die. There was no point trying anymore. I was already dead. Already gone. The valley had taken me weeks ago. That's when I heard a real voice. "Hey, are you Connor Walsh?" I looked up. A park ranger was standing at the edge of the valley, calling to me. "We've been searching for 3 days. Your car was at the trailhead. You didn't check in. Come on, let's get you out of here. 3 days. He said 3 days, not 72. I let him lead me out. We walked for 20 minutes and emerged onto the Highline Trail, a trail I'd walked past a dozen times without seeing it. The ranger took me to the station, gave me food and water, asked questions. I told him everything. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "Connor, you were lost for 3 days, not 72. You're dehydrated and malnourished, probably delirious. The mind does strange things in survival situations." But I went back 3 weeks later with a different ranger escort to the valley. We found the rock. My name was still there. Connor Walsh, 8/14/2024, day 72. "That's weird," the ranger said. "Must be a different Connor Walsh, maybe someone who was here years ago. But the date was from this year, from my trip, and below my name, freshly carved, still showing bright stone underneath. Connor Walsh, 8/14/2024, day 3. 2 entries, same name, same date, different day counts. The ranger who led me out said I was gone 3 days, but the valley says I was there for 72. And somewhere in that valley, maybe there's another version of me still sitting by that rock, thinking he's been there for years, slowly forgetting what the outside world looks like. I don't go into Glacier anymore. Can't. Because I don't know which version of me is real. The one who got out after 3 days, or the one who's still there, carving day numbers into stone, watching them climb higher and higher while the voices laugh in the darkness. Maybe we're both real. Maybe the valley keeps everyone who enters. Some of us just don't realize we never left.
My name is Amanda Reeves. I'm 38 and I'm a search and rescue coordinator for Yellowstone National Park. I've been doing SAR work for 15 years. Found lost hikers, rescued injured climbers, recovered bodies. It's hard work, often heartbreaking, but important. In October 2024, we got a call about a missing person. A 19-year-old college student named Kevin Martinez had gone on a day hike near Shoshone Lake and never returned. His car was still at the trailhead. His phone went dead around 3 p.m., last ping near the lake. We started the search at dawn the next day. 12 SAR members, 2 search dogs, a helicopter. Standard grid search pattern covering the most likely areas first. By midday, we'd found nothing. No footprints, no dropped items, no sign Kevin had ever been there. The dogs picked up a scent at the trailhead but lost it after half a mile, which was unusual. Well-trained dogs don't just lose scent trails on clear paths. Day 2 of the search. We expanded the grid, brought in more volunteers. That afternoon, one of our dog handlers, a guy named Rick, radioed in. "I've got something. West of Shoshone Lake, about 2 miles off trail. You need to see this." I hiked to Rick's location with 3 other team members. When we arrived, Rick's dog was sitting 30 feet from a small clearing, refusing to go closer. The dog was whining, tail tucked, clearly distressed. "What did you find?" I asked. Rick pointed to the clearing. "Just look." We approached carefully. The clearing was maybe 40 feet across, perfectly circular, and in the center stood Kevin Martinez. He was standing completely still, arms at his sides, facing away from us. He was wearing the same clothes from his ID photo: red jacket, jeans, hiking boots. He wasn't moving at all, not shifting weight, not looking around, just standing there like a statue. "Kevin?" I called out. "Kevin Martinez, are you okay?" No response. He didn't turn, didn't acknowledge us. "Kevin, we're search and rescue." "Your family's worried. Can you hear me?" Still nothing. We moved closer, entering the clearing. That's when I noticed the ground. The entire clearing was covered in a thin layer of something white. Not snow. It was too early for snow, and this was different. It looked like ash, or powder, or fine sand. We got within 10 feet of Kevin. "Kevin, we're going to approach you now. Are you injured?" He didn't respond, but as we got closer, I noticed something wrong with his posture. He was standing too still, no breathing movement, no muscle tension. He looked like a mannequin. Rick reached out and touched Kevin's shoulder. Kevin fell over, not like a person falling, like a prop being pushed. He toppled stiffly, maintaining that standing position, and hit the ground with a hollow thud. And when he hit the ground, he shattered. Not blood and bone. Kevin's body broke apart into pieces like a ceramic statue. Chunks of something that looked like dried clay or papier-mâché. And inside, instead of organs and blood, there was nothing. Hollow. Empty. We all stepped back in shock. "What the fuck is that?" one of my team members said. It wasn't Kevin. It was something shaped like Kevin, wearing his clothes. But it wasn't human. "We need to get out of this clearing," I said. "Now." As we backed away, I noticed movement at the edge of the clearing. More figures. Standing in the same rigid pose. There were 5 of them, partially hidden in the trees, all perfectly still. They were all wearing Kevin's red jacket. All had Kevin's face. 5 identical copies, standing at different points around the clearing, watching us with unmoving eyes. "Everyone move slowly toward the exit," I ordered. "Don't run. Don't make sudden movements." We backed out of the clearing, keeping our eyes on those figures. As we left, they began to move. All at once, in perfect synchronization, they all turned their heads to track us. The movement was mechanical, unnatural. Their heads rotated too far, well past the normal range of human neck movement. We got out of the clearing and ran. Didn't stop running until we were back on the main trail, in sight of other hikers. When we reached the ranger station, I made my report. My supervisor listened, face grave. When I finished, he said, "You're the 3rd team to find something like that this year." "What?" "We've had 7 missing person cases in Yellowstone this year. 3 of them we found duplicates, effigies, copies made of some kind of organic material wearing the missing person's clothes. We don't know what's creating them or why." "What about the real people? The actual missing hikers?" "We never find them. Just the copies. And here's what's really disturbing. The copies are getting better. The first one we found in May was crude, obviously fake. The one you found today looked nearly perfect. Whatever's making them is learning, improving its technique. Why isn't this public? Why aren't we warning people? Because we don't know what to warn them about. We don't know what these things are, where they come from, or what their purpose is. And if we close the park or issue warnings, we need a reason that doesn't sound insane. Something in the park is making duplicate people out of unknown organic material isn't something we can put in a press release." He handed me a file. "These are the other cases. I want you to read them. Notice any patterns." I read through the files that night. 7 missing persons. 3 found as copies. The other 4 never found at all. But there was a pattern. All 7 disappeared in remote areas, off main trails. All 7 were alone when they vanished, and all 7 disappeared near water sources, lakes, hot springs, geysers. "I think they're taken near water," I told my supervisor the next morning. "That's the pattern. Every disappearance is within a mile of water." We noticed that too. We've started warning solo hikers to stay away from remote water sources, but we can't close those areas without explaining why. And we can't explain why? What do you think is taking them? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "There are things in Yellowstone older than humans, Amanda. Geothermal features that have been active for millennia. Underground systems we haven't fully mapped. And sometimes I think we're not the first intelligent species to live in these places. I think there are others. Things that have been here much longer. Things that watch us, study us, maybe try to become us. You think something is trying to copy humans? I think something is learning how to do it. Those early copies were rough, easy to identify as fake. But the one you found yesterday? That looked real until it broke. Give it another year, another 10 victims, and the copies might be perfect, might pass as human, might walk out of the park and integrate into society, and we'd never know. That was 3 months ago. Kevin Martinez's family was told he died from exposure, and the body wasn't recovered. A common occurrence in wilderness SAR. They held a memorial service, closed the case. But I've kept investigating on my own. I've hiked to every site where copies were found. I've documented patterns, and I've found more. There are dozens of these clearings scattered throughout Yellowstone, all in remote areas, all circular, all covered in that white powder. And in most of them, if you look carefully, you can find fragments, pieces of broken copies, hands, feet, faces, all made of that hollow, ceramic-like material. Something in Yellowstone is mass-producing human duplicates. The failed ones are discarded in clearings, but the successful ones, where do they go? Last week, I attended a training seminar in Bozeman for SAR coordinators from parks across the country. During a break, I started talking with the coordinator from Glacier National Park. I mentioned the duplicate bodies without giving details, just testing if she'd heard similar stories. Her face went pale. You found them too? We thought it was just us? We've had 4 cases this year, copies made of some kind of organic material. We've been keeping it quiet. I contacted coordinators from Olympic, Grand Canyon, Great Smoky Mountains, Joshua Tree. Every single park has had cases. Not all of them, but enough. A pattern across the entire national park system. Something is taking people from remote areas and creating duplicates, learning how to copy us, getting better with each attempt. And yesterday, I got a call from Kevin Martinez's mother. Amanda, I know this sounds crazy, but Kevin came home. What? He showed up at our house 2 days ago. He says he got lost in the park, wandered for weeks, finally found his way out. He seems fine. Tired, thinner, but fine. But Amanda, something's not right. He doesn't remember things he should remember. Family stories, inside jokes, and he's been asking strange questions about our house security system, about how many people live in our neighborhood, about how humans normally behave in social situations. He's asking like he's trying to learn, like he's studying us. I drove to their house that night, met Kevin, talked to him for an hour. He looked perfect, moved naturally, spoke normally. But Mrs. Martinez was right. Something was off. His responses were just slightly wrong, his emotions slightly delayed, like he was processing how to react rather than reacting naturally. When I left, I looked back at the house. Kevin was standing at the window, watching me, not moving, just standing there, perfectly still, the same way that Copy had been standing in the clearing. How many successful copies have walked out of the parks? How many are living among us now, learning, adapting, becoming indistinguishable from real humans? And the worst question, are the real people still alive somewhere? Are they being kept, studied, used as templates, or are they disposed of once the copy is made? I don't have answers, but I know this. If you're going hiking in a national park, especially Yellowstone, don't go to remote areas alone. Don't go near isolated water sources. And if you see someone standing perfectly still in a clearing, don't approach them. Because it might not be a person. It might be a copy, a failed one that hasn't been broken yet. Or worse, it might be a successful one, waiting to see if you'll notice it's not quite human. And if you don't notice, if you treat it like it's real, maybe that's how it learns. Maybe that's how it becomes real. And maybe that's exactly what they want.